Hey, how's everybody doing? Welcome to Talking Shit with your boy, Sophisticated Jerk. So today, man, I wanted to cover the news story with Sean Kingston. He was recently sentenced to 3.5 years in prison, for his fraud scheme with his mother. So what they were doing, they were defrauding businesses out of like $1 million. It was like jewelry, cars, furniture, and then, other miscellaneous stuff. But let me go ahead and pull up this clip, and between it, I'm going to try to break down some of this stuff. Because, yeah, this is a sad story, man. This is a guy, honed in on his craft, put himself out there, got some status, got a little bit of fame, some money with that. And, it's just one of those classic stories when, you pull yourself up and you can't always take everybody with you, man. This is a prime example because it's just like everybody don't know how to act. And when you start got to feed everybody and your money ain't stretching that far, instead of them like, nah, you know what? Make sure you get yourself together. It's like everybody starts coming to you with schemes and shit, how they can eat. And, eventually you might get sucked into that. So it's kind of sad because, it looked like his mom was part of that. And that should be the person who's like, hey, nah, we need to just hunker down, make sure you get financially set. Then, maybe we could start, branching out. Let me learn how to invest some money or real estate. Let me learn the positive things. But a lot of times people are going to come at you with, like I said, fraudulent schemes that's going to end up getting you in trouble too. So it's definitely a sad story. Wished it would have played out this way. Like it could have been more positive, but it's a good example for us to look at this type of stuff and break it down, man, and realize like, damn, man, this is where like that male leadership comes into, because even some of the people that's closest to you, it could be like your family members, brother, sister, mom, they ain't coming to you in the right manner, man. You got to learn how to say no, man. And that's where you got to be like, look, I understand y'all got to do what y'all got to do, but I'm going to create some distance between y'all. I'm here to help. You want to do the right thing. Maybe I could fund some of that type of stuff. But as far as like illegal dumb shit, man, that we in a digital age where they're tracking everything. You ain't getting away with nothing, man. So don't even go down that path. Don't even entertain it. But all right, let me pull this up. Sorry, I was ranting a little bit. But, all right, give me 1 second.
Rapper Sean Kingston getting sentenced to 3.5 years in federal prison today for wire fraud. His lawyers saying this case was about more than just theft.
It was about the fact that he was a 16-year-old who rose to fame overnight and never had any guidance on finances, never knew how much money was in his bank account. Business managers handle that, and some of them didn't handle it properly. So we're here today because Sean still to this day doesn't know how much money is in his bank account and does like to buy nice stuff.
Remember,
see, and let me pause real quick. That's the sad thing where, man, I don't care what you do, man. If you make a nice amount of money, I don't care if you're just at the 6-digit mark, you're famous, man, get a financial advisor that's credible, that, you done check them out, you vetted them. They got like a good, I'll say network and background on them. It's like, get that first, man. And I think that would save you a lot of trouble. And anytime you want to make big purchases, man, run it by somebody like with a financial background, because they're going to be like, man, that ain't smart. You don't got enough money. This is the interest on that you're going to be paying. They're going to give you a lot of logic, whatever that decision. You might still go down that path, but it's going to be one of them things you ain't going to be able to say, like how she mentioned, like, hey, he don't know how much money he has. He don't know what's going on. You don't ever want to be in that state. At least like if you still want to make some bad decisions, be like, look, I knew what I was doing. Because when you blindsided, I think that's the worst position to put yourself in life, man, when you just have so many unknowns. But that should be the first thing you ever do, man. When you start getting on a good path, man, get that financial advisor, get a solid one. Don't get like the homie from the hood that took some financial classes and feel like they can manage a portfolio. Nah, you get somebody that's solid where they got like a name where they're not going to risk like their reputation on your little bit of money. You know what I'm saying? So definitely, man, get that first. But damn, just even this photo right here, it looked like when they take them pictures when they like about to book you, they take the worst shot. Yeah. So him and his mom looking rough as hell in this one.
His mother was found guilty of fraud and grand theft as well. She got sentenced to 5 years in federal prison last month. Prosecutors said Kingston and his mother used his celebrity name to trick luxury businesses into delivering things to them before getting payment. The payments were then made using fraudulent or worthless wire transfers. Kingston and his mom ended up stealing more than $1 million worth of stuff. According to arrest warrants, the pair defrauded a jewelry business, a luxury bed company, car dealerships, and a TV company. Jesse Kerr.
Hold on, let me get back to that. Give me 1 second. But it's like, see, and this is what I'm saying. It's almost like people still don't realize, man, we're in a digital age. Like, man, you're doing wire transfers, man. All that stuff is tracked. Like, so, man, it's sad. But it sounded like he was put in a bad position, like tying back into earlier, where it was just like, you got a young kid coming to some fame, and then instead of the parents being parents and protecting their child and their finances, it's like, oh shit, this is the cash cow. Let me bring some fraudulent shit, or let me I won too. So that's the sad thing, man. So instead of the parents like, you know what, man, let me make sure I become financially savvy to protect my child, it's damn near like the child starts raising the parents and stuff like that. So they start leeching off the kid that made it and stuff like that, instead of looking for real opportunities and protecting the person. It's just almost like they bleed that child out. And then now the child's got to get involved in like fraudulent shit too, to like sustain the lifestyle for all these people and stuff. So it's definitely sad, man. People got to get better at this, man. You like, even if you in a bad state, man, like I could be in the worst condition. I could be damn near homeless. But if my son like had an opportunity, I'm going to make sure I protect him. I'll be like, dude, don't become like me. Like, I'm not going to allow no fuckery coming towards you. He could be like, look, I want to get you right. Let me do this. I'm like, nah, take care of your stuff first. Invest. You know, I'll just be around and stuff like that. But when parents start milking off their kids and putting them in bad situations, it's sad, because you're supposed to be the protector in that, providing some guidance and stuff like that. Or even if you can't provide that guidance, you don't have the knowledge, you tell them, go seek it out, you know.
A TV company. Jesse Kerr is joining us now with more on this outside the courthouse. Jesse, the sentence, it could have been worse, right? The government had asked for more time. What happened in court and what's coming next?
Yeah, so prosecutors, Yasmin, had asked for 60 months behind bars. He wound up getting sentenced to 42 months, as well as 3 years of supervised release. His attorneys have been pushing for him to spend no time behind bars. His legal team arguing that Sean Kingston should have just served time under house arrest, which he had been doing leading up to his sentencing. His attorneys had pointed to several things, including the fact that they say that he had repaid much of what was owed. They pointed to what they say were good works he'd done in the past, including serving meals around Thanksgiving to those in need. But the judge clearly determined that Kingston needed to spend at least some time behind bars. We did hear from Kingston's legal team afterward. We did not hear from Kingston himself because he was immediately taken into custody. Here's part of what we heard from Kingston's legal team.
I'm going to pause right there. Man, I don't like seeing people behind bars, man, but you got to put yourself in other people's shoes. Like, when you talk about you frauded people out of $1 million, man, you know, a lot of these businesses are small businesses. And when you're looking at the impact of like not paying them to that scale, man, that's detrimental, because they got to lay off people. You know, their finances could be tied up where they might go bankrupt because like they're missing payments, because a lot of businesses have to end up taking out loans to make payroll and stuff like that. So it's just like, man, those type of things can have so much impact on those businesses, where I think a lot of time people like, man, they could have just like let them stay out. But it's just like, man, when you see how many people's lives are impacted by these by fraud and, like I said, missed payments, it's no joke and stuff. So nah, you know, people, it's like if you go down these paths, man, you do got to make an example of certain things, man, so people don't repeat these actions and they understand the severity of these type of actions and stuff. So like I said, I do feel bad. I'm glad he only got like a shorter period of time, but house arrest, nah, man. If once you walk down the path and you're an adult, man, you got to take the consequences that come with it. So I just wanted to kind of point that out, because I think a lot of times, man, we forget like businesses, like the small ones, because a lot of time our mind just goes to like Apple, Microsoft, the big businesses where they can write off some losses and shit. But when you're talking about like mom and pops and smaller businesses, nah, it's critical that they get their payments. And, you know, now that they even got to go through legal action to try to get their money back, that stuff just, it could bottom them out. So they might have to lay off like a couple people. Now, you talk about the people that's like getting laid off, they're having financial issues within their family and stuff. So that's not fair to them either. You know, so nah.
I think that anybody who buys diamond jewelry, and you all know from social media, I mean, I would call it an addiction. Just like people who have an addiction to gambling get a lower sentence, I would say that this was an addiction to nice stuff.
And here's also a look, Yasmin, at some of the figures that have been discussed in this case. And at this point, the amount of restitution is still TBD. There's a hearing set in October, or I should say in October. That is when we are expecting a conclusion to the amount of money.
Hold on, let me go back to that cost breakdown, because that's, damn, $480K in jewelry, $200K from Bank of America, $160 from Escalade Dealer, $100K from First Republic Bank, $86K from a custom beds manufacturer. So they was all on some Tempur-Pedics. They was like leaned up. So no, it's fucked up, man, because like I was looking up his net worth. So it says something from like 3 to 4 million, but it was like pretty much after this case and all the fees he had to pay back, they said he's not going to be left with too much. So that's the thing. It's just like, man, when you pull somebody into like this type of legal action where they were talking about they want to postpone it for like 60 months, that means it's a major trial. So he's spending some big bucks on that. So, man, by the time he comes out, man, he's pretty much going to be cleaned out and shit. So, yeah, that's why, like I said, parents, man, it's like, don't bring no drama to your kid. Like, everybody around that person is like, man, we need to become an asset to that person. And I think sometimes it's like, instead of just doling out money to people, it's like, look, you're going to go to like, you're going to get an accounting degree. You're going to nursing school. It's like, man, you're going to get a trade. We're going to work until we get filthy rich to the point where it's like, we don't need to work no more. But until we get to that point, it's like, man, if I'm out here busting my ass and building myself up, everybody going to have to work. So I think that's where like people got to get better at saying no and setting them expectations of people. And that's why I think that financial person is important. Because I forgot Marcellus Wallace. I saw an interview with him where he was talking about, he got him a financial person, and then he made that person, he was like, if anybody came, family members or anybody came to him to get some money, he was like, he sent them to that person like, look, they manage the money. You got to go talk to them to get something. So that financial person was like, look, you got to put together a business plan and you got to pitch it to me. And he said the financial person was just shooting that shit down. Like, nope, dumb plan. Nope, dumb plan. Hell no, we ain't doing that. And I think, you got to get comfortable in saying no, man, because people would definitely put your ass in a bad situation. And this is a prime example. But let me get back to the video.
A conclusion to the amount of money that Sean Kingston will still owe, unless there is any kind of agreement reached between prosecutors and the defense team in between between now and then. And that is what played out outside of the courthouse. We're actually in Miami now, so we're in the general area, but that's what played outside the courthouse. Again, we saw Sean Kingston going into the courthouse. He didn't say anything to us when I asked him what he was going to say to the judge, but he did make some brief comments in the courtroom. He made the push to be able to turn himself in, saying he had some medical appointments that he needed to handle before he was taken into custody. But the judge had him immediately remanded to custody. And so now he's going to be spending years now, Yasmin, behind bars.
Jesse Kirsch, thank you. Appreciate it.
We thank you for watching. And
All right, y'all, man. Yeah, I just wanted to cover that story real quick because, yeah, like I said, man, people just got to get better at financial management. And part of financial management is saying no, telling people, shooting down bad ideas, not getting yourself in the mix. And even your closest family members, man, sometimes those be the worst ones. And you got to just be comfortable with just be like, nah, I'm not doing that. And if they try to guilt trip you, boy, I done had you and all that, you be like, look, I don't give a damn what you say. Like, you could stay at my house. I could take care of you in this manner. It might not be the way you wanted to, but this is what I could offer at this time. And if you don't like it, then that's on you. And I think that's where you just got to leave it. You just got to be comfortable with that. All right, y'all, man. Keep tuning in. Peace out.